What's going on, everyone? Nery Rodriguez here. Another great week of high school football here in the Garden State. Some big wins from teams. PCTI taking down West Orange. Cedar Grove taking care of Weequahic. We'll talk more about that and so much more. We have interviews with Paramus Catholic, Mainland, and SJV coming down the pipe. Shout out to Paladins running back Xavier Williams. 6 TDs versus Pope John. Incredible. He's setting the state on fire so far. Before we get into that, we do want to recap week 1 a bit. And let's start with Friday. Headed down to Red Bank to see the top 20, but really top 10 matchup in the state between Don Bosco and the non-public B defending champ Casey's. But this one, all Bosco. Right from the jump, Devin Sisler and company getting up 30-0 at the half and everything rocking for him. Offense, defense, special teams, you name it. Bosco clearly in their get-back season as Coach Dan Sabella and company bouncing back from a tough loss in week 0 on the road in Ohio. Devin Sisler finishing this one with 2 touchdowns, 1 rushing and 1 passing. We caught up with them after. All right, I'm here with Don Bosco quarterback Devin Sisler. Tell me, how does it feel to get this magnificent road win over the Casey's?
Feels great. Bounced back from last week and coming back to my hometown, the Shore. Feels great to get a win down here.
Absolutely, absolutely. Them Shore Conference wins hit different. So tell me, obviously you took a hard L in week 0.
Yeah.
Just talk about this week of practice and really what went into this 44-0 victory.
Yeah, we had a hard week last year, hard loss last week. And we really just tried to bounce back this week. It was a really hard practices all week. Just really the determination to bounce back. We want to know every day. Every play we want to know.
Devin, congratulations, man. No fresh cookies for this guy tonight.
Fresh cookies.
All right, I'm here with Don Bosco head coach Dan Sabella. Tell me, Coach Sabella, how's it feel to get this nice road win over RBC?
Yeah, hey, it's always good to get your first win. We came off a tough one from last week. The theme all week was, hey, let's go out and play the way we're capable of playing. Let's learn from our mistakes. And we played a solid football game tonight. It was nice to see. It's a good start for us, and now we got to build off it.
So at the end of the first quarter there, you're up 21-0. What are you kind of telling the guys there at that point?
Hey, good start, but 3 quarters left. Let's keep playing. Let's keep making plays, and I thought we did that.
Offense, defense, special teams. It just seemed like you guys were rocking all cylinders.
Yeah, complementary football, right? That's a big part of what we talk about, and we saw it tonight. And that's got to be the ingredients to our success if we want to play in big games down, late into November.
It was nice to come down to the Shore, face the reigning non-public B champ. But obviously, when you go back home to Ramsey, you got some big guys coming for you. So what are you going to take away from this win?
Hey, like I said, just keep getting better. We got St. Anthony's from Long Island next week. We're excited to be home, play our home opener, focus on them, go into a bye week, and listen. Go back to work, man. Just get better and better. Just build off of this and take them one at a time.
And then on Saturday, I was up in West Orange for St. Joseph Montvale taking on Seton Hall Prep. Joe's coming off that tough loss to St. Francis of Maryland. And right from the jump, the Green Knights on it as they begin the game with some fresh cookies. That set the tone as they commanded the afternoon. Scary moment here in the third as star running back John Forrester leaving the game with an apparent hamstring injury. He would not return. And despite a late score from the Pirates, St. Joe's Montvale getting their first win of the season, and head coach Augie Hoffman getting his first win as the Green Knights head coach after returning from the college scene. It's looking like a whole new era in Montvale. 2 great performances from 2 of the state's best programs. Now looking ahead to our interviews this week on the Garden Statement, another person with a spectacular outing, Xavier Williams of Paramus Catholic, who rushed for 6 touchdowns in their big win over Pope John. We also catch up with Mainland and the new coach that has revitalized SJV. That's coming up only here on the Garden Statement. Let's check it out. All right, let's welcome in our next guest. He is the starting wide receiver for the Mainland Mustangs. Let's welcome in Jake Blum.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, brother. Look, it's only 2 games into the season. You guys extend that win streak to 16 games. So Mainland is 2-0 in 2024, defending Group 4 champs. Tell me, what's the vibes been like at practice?
Yeah, no, it's been high vibes. I mean, we start lifting right after the season ends at past season, so 1 week later, and obviously coming off that state championship, like the upcoming seniors want to go back to back, and everyone wants to go back to back. So just that lifting in winter and the spring practices in the summer, it's just in high vibes all the time. Like everyone wants to be the best at what it's all competition. Everyone wants to win this, be the best at. And like it's just good vibes all around, good locker room, practice every single day, high vibes, music. We're just having a good time, and like obviously winning keeps the vibes high. So we just do what we can throughout the week to prepare for Fridays and keep the energy high as much as we can.
That's awesome. So like I mentioned, you guys are defending Group 4 champs, but that was kind of that was last year. And early on we've seen this, you're a junior. We've seen this junior class really step up to the challenge, and it's early, but you guys are looking good. What can you just say about this junior class, and what do you think makes you guys just click so well?
Yeah, absolutely. We kind of knew this junior class up coming to our freshman year. We had a good class all around. A lot of it just comes from like playing sports together growing up. I mean, there's obviously a lot of us from Northfield and Linwood and Summers Point playing against each other in football stuff. But then when we go to like other travels and play these bigger tournaments, we're playing together. So it's kind of like obviously having that little rivalry between the inter community stuff, but then uh, all together, like coming together at one point and just playing for the bigger picture. And they're just like playing together, growing up together, and like being best friends. It's kind of like what it is. Our group of juniors, where it's all a bunch of best friends just playing the sport, and like that's what makes the connection real good there, and that's why we've had so much success.
Yeah, and like we said, you're 2-0, two big win margin. Yeah, two big wins by margin. You're gonna face your toughest challenge possibly all season, and it's a big one everyone's gonna be looking forward to. Just talk about your upcoming matchup against Millville.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's obviously been back and forth between us and Millville the past couple of years. They got us in the sectional semifinal the 1 year. We got them last year in the sectional championship. So obviously each team has a chip on their shoulder. Each team has their own story. And just like playing against Millville is obviously a big game. They're ranked, I think, #1 in South Jersey right now. So like going in there, we see ourselves, and I think we're seen as the underdogs. So just like wanted to prove a point and kind of like showing that like, yeah, we didn't fall off since last year. People are saying we fell off since last year. I feel like we played a role where we have all stepped up, and maybe there is a fall off. I don't see a fall off much, but I see that we are one of the top teams in South Jersey, and we just got to prove that point this week.
Yeah, and both programs very well coached and both have a lot of tradition. I know it's hard to escape. Their big guy on the other side. How do you prepare for a player like Lotzier Brooks?
Absolutely, yeah. Latsier is a great talent, special talent. He's got accolades, and he's got them for a reason. But we got to respect that, and we're gonna like our coaches. I think are gonna prepare us perfect. I mean, the schemes we've drawn up. Obviously, it's early in this week so far, but schemes we've drawn up for the week, everything seems like everything seems good to me so far. Like, I mean, you obviously got a game plan for this guy, but you don't want to over game plan because a team like Millville absolutely has plenty of weapons all across the field. So it's you got to find the right mixture between making sure that he doesn't break his big plays, but making sure everyone else doesn't break their big plays either. Obviously, Millville being a big play team, they might break one here or there, but it's about how we bounce back and how we get them on the next play. Because I mean, there's multiple snaps in a game. One snap's not going to define the game.
Yeah, and you kind of touched on my next point. Coaching at Millville is also very special. Been fortunate enough to know Coach Watson for a while, and Coach Smith. Got to know him a little bit over these last couple of years. Just talk about the tradition and the culture that goes along with being a Mainland Mustang.
Yeah, absolutely. Being at Mainland is just absolute like workhorse of a team that have a great attitude every single day. I mean, I feel like, and I think a bunch of people will agree with it. I think we're the best, the hardest working team in South Jersey. I mean, we bust it every single day. Like like I said, everything's a competition. So whether we're pursuing the ball, who's the first one to the ball, whether we're running sprints, who's first sprints, or whether who has the most catches, most rushing yards in practice. Like it's a workhorse. We're a really hardworking team, and we have a great staff, obviously, with Coach Folsom, Coach Smith, Coach Watson, all of those guys, Coach Monroe, Coach Lewis. Coach Lewis gets us right in the weight room. So all those coaches are there, and they're pushing us every single day, and they obviously have all the experience they do themselves. So our coaches do they do get us ready every single week to the best of our ability, and they do a great job breaking down our teams and getting our schemes and doing what we got to do week in and week out, and they just prepare us in a perfect way. We just got to go out there and execute it on Fridays.
And it's early in the season, and I know you're probably going to get tired of hearing questions relating to, playoffs and things of that nature, but what is it going to take for this Mainland team to, be successful and keep this win streak going?
Yeah, absolutely. We obviously have a gauntlet of a schedule this year, just a mean schedule. But like I said, preparation week in, week out. Recovery for everybody. Everyone's got to stay healthy for our teams. Watching film, being prepared, and just like I said, week in and week out, just being as successful as possible and being able to execute our game plans that we draw up. It's just one game at a time for us. We can't with the big schedule we have, we can't look past Millville, we can't look past Prep, we can't look past Cherokee, you can't look past Winslow. No one you can look past can't look past Ocean City, EHT, and you can't look past anybody because you still got to play that team on Friday night. So once that Friday night's over, all we're worried about is the team we're playing that week.
Yeah, and all those opponents that you listed, very, very well coached programs, and the numbers run deep. When you face a schedule like that, it's no surprise you guys have had the success you have had in the playoffs. Just talk about South Jersey football, and they've really kind of changed that narrative, and they're competing well with the North. And look, you guys are reigning Group 4 champs. Just speak about South Jersey football for a little bit.
Yeah, no, South Jersey football, I've seen it, watched it all growing up, and now playing in it now. It's really become just an absolute powerhouse in football. Obviously you look all down south, especially in our division, you just see Division I talent across the board. And then there's just guys like Latier, and there's guys Cam Miller and Ice Cup, and they're all ranked like top in the state at their position and things like that. And they just have guys all over the place, and just dogs everywhere. Every team has multiple players, and that's why I believe South Jersey's an absolute powerhouse. Teams running different offenses, so you're not getting the same thing every single week. It's just really become special to watch, and it's obviously very fun to play in. But yeah, absolute powerhouse. It's been very interesting, especially. It's been great to see the South. I think we've won the state past 3 years, I believe. I'm not sure what it is exactly, but it's great to see the South running the state a little bit.
Absolutely. Before I let you go, like we said, you're off to a great start in your junior year, man. Only 2 games in, and you're already 4 touchdowns and over 300 yards receiving. Tell me, what's been working for you so far here in 2024?
Yeah, obviously, coming to this season, we're seen as a big run offense, and obviously, you can't deny it. We've ran the ball down people's throats the past 2 years. But coming to this season with a junior quarterback who's been a 3-year starter now, the coaches put a lot of confidence in him. Everyone's game planning to our run game. So we knew coming into this year that we were going to have to spread the ball around a little bit, especially not having those big backs like Cohen Cook and Stephen Ardilli coming back. Obviously, Rocco DiBiase returning. Plenty of teams are going to game plan off him. So it's up to us guys, us juniors, to step up and kind of take that role of being the playmakers. So we knew we got to spread the ball around. It's nice to see that we have been passing the ball and we have been passing it effectively because our run has been shut down a little bit. And obviously all the confidence the coaches put in Johnny to get me the ball. Last Friday night, I think that's probably the most we've passed in the game, and it's definitely mine and Johnny's career high for yards. So it's nice to see it. We're spreading the ball around a little bit. Also, now we put that on tape, so now teams got to defend our pass. And if they don't want to defend our pass, we'll just hit them with it again.
Absolutely. Jake Blum, any parting words here, and something that the rest of the state needs to know about the Mainland Mustangs?
Yeah, we might not look like it on film, but we're a team. We're going to show up every single Friday, and we're going to play. We're going to play as hard as we can. We'll be ready, and just want to thank you for having me, and thank you for this opportunity.
Absolutely, absolutely. Jake Blum, everybody, and good luck this week. Take it easy on the Bolts, all right?
Thank you.
All right, our next guest is no stranger to success with North Jersey football. Let's welcome in Paramus Catholic head coach Greg Russo.
What's going on, man? Good to see you.
You as well, coach. You as well. Congratulations on your 2-0 start. I guess we'll just jump right into it. You guys look very dominant in your first 2 games. Tell me, what's the secret?
Who knows, man? This is a tough league, so every week's its own game. And I tell you what, even within the same game, like the quarters, like we had quarters. Both games were really close at halftime. I feel like we pulled away second half. We adjusted well, and the kids are just having fun playing. So it's a little bit different. I think they feel comfortable in the close games now, and they're looking like where I think prior we weren't sure if we were going to be in the game. We know they were kind of learning the program. Now it's like they're expecting to be in there. They're enjoying it. They relish when it's close and they got to make a play. So it's been really fun.
Yeah, 2 quality wins over, 2 great programs in St. Peter's Prep and Pope John. And listen, it's a team effort, but one guy's really stood out here in these first 2 games. Xavier Williams, 6 touchdowns in your last one. Just talk about what he's meant to your team so far.
He's been a stud, but the funny thing is, like, that game was close. Like, a lot of times someone scores that many times, you're like, the game's a blowout or something. The game was close, so like I didn't even realize he scored 6. Like someone said it at the end, and they asked. I knew he scored a couple touchdowns. I thought it was like 3 or 4. When I realized it was 6, I was like, wow. But he was tremendous, and I mean our whole line did a great job, and we have our tight end Jordan Moretta was blocking really hard too, and our receivers downfield did a great job. Whenever someone does that, X is extraordinary. Don't get me wrong, but those guys were all really blocking really well, and it's something he said to the team, when we were meeting. So. He knows it too. It was a kind of when a running back runs for a lot, it's a lot of the team effort too. But he's been unreal. Plus, he's playing safety half the time too, maybe more than half the time. So he's really a throwback kid, like guy that plays both ways and plays every snap. Like we all look at him when he comes out, like you're taking a rest right now. He's like, yeah, I just played 30 plays in a row. You're like, yep, okay, you get one, get water and get back in. But he's been awesome.
That's great. And I mentioned your game against Pope John. Actually, I covered last year's game. I know that was a tough loss for you guys. I was that your home opener last year at your place?
I don't think it was our home opener, but it was a tough game. It came down an extra point at the end. There was a weird call about like spinning the ball or something. So yeah, it was tough for like losses are always tough, but like when you lose over some like technicality, like that's a tough one to swallow. But we did. And when we had it as the opener, I was like, all right, good. We finished, we righted that one. Right now we played Pope John. We lost a kind of wild game there where it was over an extra point too. And so those 2 extra point games we've kind of put behind us where we're turning the page there. Right. And then now we have a bye week and then it's St. Joe's. And, for the bye week in my history, it's always like you get yourself as good as you can. I'm not going to worry too much opponent wise. It's like, let's fix some things that we do. And, kind of go from there. I'm excited about, what comes next.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know you guys are in non-public B this year. Just talk about your thoughts about that and just kind of, the whole structure kind of changing and what that means.
You can't control it. So we found out, they told us that, I think it was week 1 of the season. Like we were like playing that week and they're like, you're in B. And I think people have feelings about that. Like for me, it's like, the public should all be in the same group because when I was in public, you have this massive bracket, right? And then in the parochials, they break this bracket up. And I'm not sure the reason. The state's got their reasons. To me, it's like you should put the guys in the bracket and let them all play. But I also think A and B is not what it was in the past. Like years ago when I was here in 2015, 2016, A was really dominant and the teams in B weren't pretty much. So it would be like sometimes St. Joe's or DePaul would have kind of a path. Maybe they play RBC, right? Now you look at those brackets. Number 1, we're in the league with all A, so we're playing them all. We're in the league with, Bergen, Bosco, Joe's, Peters, and us, all the big schools. So we're playing them all. We're not dodging anyone. We're playing them all. And then when you go to the playoffs, in the past, you'd say, well, B is weaker. I don't know. DePaul's really good. Like they're probably one of the best teams in the state, right? RBC is won the states last year, is really good. Aquinas is up and coming. You have Pope John, who's been a playoff team in A the last 2 years, right? So like those are just the teams off the top of my head. And then you look at A, and those are the names everybody knows, right? Like your Bosco, your Bergen, and Bergen's 3-time defending state champs, right? So they're who they are. Everybody else, if you played B versus A, I don't think it's like this like wash of all the teams. I think the games are pretty close. And what you're going to see is you're going to see it. We all played, a lot of us played during the year. So, I don't think B is like this demotion that people are trying to make it. And for me, I don't care. I want to play whoever's on our schedule. And we're dodging no, we're playing all those teams. So it's like we're going to know, so I think in that way our league is great because like, even DePaul a year ago, like if you beat all those teams in the season and you go to the playoffs and you win, what is everyone going to say to you? Like now, if you lose to all those teams, you have a losing record and then you win Group B, right? Like, well, that's a little weird, right? Like that's like where people are going to talk about it. But to me, like you can't control what people are talking about. I think I've made it pretty clear. Like we're not afraid to play anyone. I can tell by the scheduling. Like we're in the heart of the league and I love it like that. And we'll play the best teams. And I think the gap between what used to be the gap between B and A is very, very small, if at all.
Yeah, and I just saw Bosco versus RBC this past week, and that was that got out of control pretty.
Yeah, I didn't watch that tape yet. I heard that Bosco beat him up pretty good.
Yeah, 44-0. They definitely, they bounced back from they had an out-of-state loss. They bounced back. But honestly, you kind of jump to my next point. The schedule you guys put together, I mean, that's A1. Yeah. If you're a high school football fan in New Jersey, I mean, you're seeing everybody, and you're gonna go down and see RBC.
Which is what we want. Like I think I saw some rankings. Like Aquinas was high. Everyone, and obviously the other guys are all really high. I think we play like 6 or 7 teams in the top 10 or something like that. So there's going to be. That's why I don't care so much about group playoff. You're going to know, like we're either going to beat those teams or we're not, and then that's it. And then for us, you got to keep getting better. And we don't want a week off. We want to play great teams every week. And when I looked to go out of state this year, I was kind of like, well, any of these out-of-state teams, like, can we get anyone that's better than, say, RBC, who I just watched won the states last year? I was like, I want to play RBC. Then it was Aquinas is an up-and-coming team, and it's like, well, why are we traveling if we could do this? And I really feel like, too, like, everyone likes to go out of state, but, like, are you beating all the teams in Jersey first? Because there's a lot of good teams in Jersey, so it's like, let's go play them, and then when we are winning those games, all right, then let's go out of state and let's find some of the best opponents. And everyone has their own way of doing their schedule, but this year, I was kind of like, well, what if we play the best teams in Jersey? So there's no doubt about what's going on. And that's what we're doing. And last year, we traveled out of state to Cleveland Heights, and that was awesome too. So, each year is a little different, but that's what I was kind of thinking going into this year.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Now, I know aside from being a coach, you're also a huge high school football fan here in New Jersey. That's why I commend you on putting together that great schedule. What's a matchup that maybe you're looking forward to this year or that you would like to see down the road?
For us or like just any team?
Let's do both.
I mean, for us, every matchup is awesome, man, because this league's really good. So like, I also think like whatever you did last week doesn't really matter in the next week because the teams are even in a 20-point game. We had a 20-point game of Pope John. And like, I like to say, oh, we dominated the game. We won the game. There's a couple plays in there. If they go a different way, the game's really close. And for most games in our league, that's the case. So like, I think every week's interesting. Like you could watch Bosco blow out RBC and then, the RBC might beat DePaul, then DePaul plays them. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter who beat who by how much. It's like, it's all about the matchups. It's kind of like boxing that way. Like the styles make fights. I think like each of the games, the styles are so interesting. Like any game, pick any game on our schedule. We play Joe's. It's going to be really interesting. We play Bosco. It's going to be really interesting. All those games are interesting. Del Barton, like they all do different things. They all have their strengths. I think what's really cool about the league is like everyone pretty much, no one's that stacked that you're that different than anybody else, which means it's going to come down to who executes, which anyone can do it on any given day. So like, I love watching any game. Like I don't watch as many games in our league that like we're not playing yet. Like I haven't seen Bergen for 1 second. because we play them later in the year, right? I'm gonna get plenty of time to watch Bergen, right? But like, you know, I've watched a lot of other games. Like DePaul's really strong. You know, Joe's has been great early. You know, all these teams have been doing it. I haven't watched Bosco yet because we play them later. So like, I only really know the teams that I've been watching. But even the Pope John DePaul game that I watched, because we were playing Pope John, that game was really good in the first half. It was like 14-7, I want to say. They got a touchdown call back. Pope John would have been 14-14, would have been interesting. They got a call back. The game kind of swung. Before that, you know, you look at the ending score, you go, oh, this wasn't a game. Yeah, it was. You know, so like, you know, those are the things I think people, when they just see scores, they don't realize how those little plays change the game. And even in our game with Pope John, like we had a big third down. If we didn't hit it, I don't know if we won the game. You know, hopefully when you're running the ball like that, you do. But it probably would have come down to like the last play, you know? So, and I think those games in our league, they're all really good, you know, all of them.
Yeah, and you know, before we go any further, your first win of the year, I mean, you break almost 100 points. Well, just talk about that a little bit, and how do you like, just like being in that situation as a coach? How do you keep these guys going, knowing it's just a high scoring game?
We
And then
talked
for it to
about
end
it.
that way.
We talk about it all the time, and that we just got to go to the next play. Like, and you know, I'm a head coach, but I'm an offensive guy, so it's like, well, we got to score. If the defense is getting stops or not, like, I want to get the ball, I want to score. So does it really change if they're scoring? We wanted to score anyway, right? Like, that's kind of how I try to get the offensive guys to think. And in that game, it was weird because the first half it was really going back and forth. Second half, we really pulled away. Like we went from being down 9 to being up, I want to say like 13 or 14 or something like that. So we really did take control of the game. Then the problem was they kept onside kicking and they were doing a really good job of it and they recovered them. So we kind of lost possessions. They gained them. And that's what made the game so close. But really, we were 2 scores up with like, I want to say 4 minutes left, 5 minutes left. And then it came down like it came down. So it ended up like, wow, you were trading. It really wasn't. We did take control in the third and early fourth. And then the onside kick thing, it's always, I'll tell you the one thing at Paramus Catholic, we love to make things interesting. Like it could have just been like, let's run the clock out, let's end the game. We never got the ball back. So where it should have turned into like, make them use their timeouts, run the clock. They just kept the ball. They got the ball, they onside kicked, they got it. And it was like, oh my God, this is going to come down to this thing right now. So even that game, mindset wise, it doesn't change for me that much because it's like, I want to score every time we get the ball regardless.
Man, that's incredible.
But it was exhausting. I mean, in all honesty, at the end of the game, it was like, I felt like that was 3 different games because we were back and forth and they were in control. Then we took control back. And then the ending was like, you're just holding on for dear life. You know?
Yeah, no. And listen, I know you're no stranger to big games. And I know we talked about this a lot last year, and you know, you overcame that adversity, being suspended to start the year, then you weren't suspended. And you know, you're coming over from Northern Highlands, you had success there. Just talk about this year, maybe things you've learned or just what's kind of just transpired, and now it seems like everything's calmed down.
Well, I just feel like you're in, you know, we've been with this back here more. And when I was here before, we were always in big games. At Highlands, we were always in big games. And I think the expectation is we're going to be in the game. So now it feels a little different. They feel more like mine. They feel more like they're part of the program like it always was. We've had some alumni on the sidelines from those years. It's been really cool. And I think the kids are feeding into it, where before it's like, hey, can we do this? I think the kids now are like, be excited. It's a close game. You got a chance to make a big play. Don't be nervous. Be like, this is great. We get to make a big play here. Hey, it's 4th and 2. We're on defense and we're on the red zone and we got to score. We had a 4th down against Peters. We called the play. The kids were so pumped. And they heard the play call. Like, what are you worried about? I'm like, I'm worried about you getting a celebration penalty after we score. Like, I kind of made a joke with them, but like, they were like really like confident in it. Where a year ago, 2 years ago, that's not what they were thinking in big spots. And they were just trying to remember the play call probably. Right. And I was probably trying to learn about who we should get the ball to, where now it's like, I know these kids, I know what they're like. I know the situations. I know the teams better. So like, I just feel like you can be more confident in those situations. Not necessarily that I'm doing anything different or the kids it's just a matter of like a confidence. They feel different in the game because we've been together longer. So I think that's the biggest change. And that's how it always was when we were at Highlands. I've always tried to tell the kids, like, this is awesome. Hey, you're down 5 and and you have a minute and a half with one timeout. Isn't this great? This is why you do this drill all the time. Like, instead of being like, oh my God, we got to try to score right now. It's like, this is awesome. Like, I try to get them like to think that way. Like, you get a chance, an opportunity to do something special. Not, oh my God, we turned the ball over. Like, oh, we turned it over. Hey, defense, you get a chance to get a stop. You can get the ball on the 20-yard line and they don't score. Think of what they're going to feel like, right? So it's like, I just think flipping that mindset, and it doesn't happen right away. Like, for me anyway, I'm not good enough to do it in 1 year, like to make kids flip their mindset. All right. But like, I think now in year 3, that's how they're feeling, which enables you to play better, able to make adjustments better, which I think our staff is pretty good at. But now the kids are able to roll with it, which is awesome.
Well, that's why you're one of the best in the biz. And
Thanks.
you know,
I don't know if I am, but I'll take it. I'll take the call.
Nah, listen, you've always been. I say you've always been great to me. Very accommodating. You're always full of knowledge. And it seems like New Jersey high school football is just that much better when PC's in the mix. So I appreciate you stopping by. Is there anything the rest of the state needs to know about the Paladins before you get out of here?
No, I mean, here's the thing. I think we can play with anybody. I think the best teams in the state, and we're going to see because we're playing them all. So I think we're really good in the days of like, oh, we're going to play PC and maybe they'll be close, or I don't want to look past them. Like, guys can say whatever they want. I think when they turn the tape on and they get ready for us, they know they're going to be in for a game, and our kids can't wait for it, and they're not going to run from it. And I'm not saying like that means you can't ever get beat, but like, you're going to have to come beat us. You're not going to just show up and beat Paramus Catholic. And our kids are going to make plays in big spots, and they're ready for that challenge, which I don't think was the case in year 1. I mean, the kids were trying hard. We weren't ready as a program. And I'm putting myself in that group too, not just my kids. Where now it's like we're a much more stable place. My kids are having fun. They can't wait to play. If you lined up the New York Giants next week, my kids would think they're going to win that game. So I mean, like that's they might, but I mean that's just how I think. And I don't mean that as you're overconfident. I feel like that's how you have to feel when you're playing football. And if you don't feel that way, you're probably going to have a long season. So our kids are going to be able to roll whatever's going on because of that confidence. And I think that's the difference this year versus year 1. So I'm looking forward to it.
That's awesome. Look out for these guys. Coach Russo, appreciate you stopping by.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
All right. Our next guest has coached in the ACC. He's held down national powerhouses like IMG, and now he's returned to the Shore Conference as the head coach of the St. John Vianney Lancers. Let's welcome in head coach Bobby Acosta.
Thank you for having me. It's an honor.
Absolutely, Coach. Absolutely. We appreciate you stopping by. Before we start talking about, St. John Vianney football, let's get a little bit of your background here. I was just talking to you off screen here. I know you're born in New York, but you're a Rowan alum. You played Rowan football, and you've obviously branched out into some of the highest platforms football has to offer. So, can we just get a little bit of your background?
Yeah, I'm actually from, I was born in Queens, New York, and then we moved over to New Jersey. I was from West New York, New Jersey, played for Memorial High School. I became a coach because of my high school football coach, Eddie Sargent. He really put me out there, and I love the game. I love coaching. Then I had an opportunity to play for Casey Keeler at Rowan University. It was the best thing that happened to me. And I was a highly rated recruit out of New Jersey with football and track and field, but chose to play for KC, and then eventually got my start in college coaching with Coach Keeler. And, from that point on, after Coach Keeler went to University of Delaware, I took a head coaching job at Marlboro High School in the Shore Conference. We just beat Marlboro last week. And then I was too young. I was a 27-year-old head football coach, and I wanted to find the best coach in New Jersey. Had a chance to coach with Coach Warren Wolf and learn the wing T. And from that point on, I went to Monmouth Regional High School. We were successful there. Casey Keeler gave me a call at Delaware to go coach tight ends. Joe Flacco was the quarterback at that time there. And then I came back to New Jersey at the College of New Jersey for the first time. And then I wanted to set a goal that I become a college football coach And that happened in 5 years at Widener University. And didn't want to leave, but the ACC gave me an opportunity to do that at my dream school, Syracuse University. Met a lot of great people up there, had a chance to coach in that league. And then after that, went to Cornell, Bucknell, St. Anselm in Minnesota, or St. Scholastica, Minnesota, down to IMG, where it was a great experience. And then I was intrigued with Texas high school football, jumped and tried that for 2 years, and then went back to the college, University of Arkansas, where it wasn't such a great time for me. I detached my retina down there and came back to New Jersey, to my roots, to where it all started, with all this knowledge, all this experience, and now I want to pour it in one place for the next 15 to 20 years and build a powerhouse.
That's that's incredible. That's incredible. When you see all that stuff on a sheet, I mean, to just hear you explain that is awesome. And you're a very blessed guy to have walked these different football paths. Coach Wolf, that's insane. I say I went to Keyport, so all you naming all these schools is it warms my heart considering all the different NCAA programs and things you've played at. So you've obviously been all over this country, and it was great to hear you talk about how you want to experience Texas high school football. Just being all around and seeing different football cultures. What do you think it is about New Jersey high school football and just the style of play here that sticks out, and the personalities compared to other places?
Yeah, it's the grit in the Northeast. Our kids are tough. We don't get football all year round in New Jersey. Down south, you have football all year round. So fundamentally, I think the kids are a little ahead of the game, but they peak too early. You come back to New Jersey where, you allow your kids to play 2 to 3 different sports, and you allow them to be a well-rounded young person. And, that's what I like about New Jersey athletics, where it's just not one sport. Our kids are playing, they're doing wrestling, they're doing indoor track, basketball. And there's just a toughness in New Jersey people that you don't see down south. I did see it in the Midwest. There's a toughness there. But in New Jersey, you have great athletic programs, you have great academic schools, and there's a grit that I definitely love and I miss.
Yeah, no. And it, I've seen coaches go they go down south, and really, it's amazing to see how many coaches, these are their roots. This is where they start, and to see them branch out is incredible. And, you're obviously a big Syracuse fan. To see what Coach Brown, how he's just recruited these guys. Syracuse, they're next couple of years, they're definitely a team to watch. What do you think?
Yeah, and that's why I was hired at Syracuse, to bring New Jersey back to New York, upstate New York. And we did a good job. I think I had 12 recruits by myself. And, I know Coach Brown for a very long time, and his passion, his recruiting expertise, his enthusiasm, the kids will gravitate towards what he's doing up there. And, I have a young man, Abdul Toure, that has an early offer, since, he went, Coach Brown's just started. We got an offer there, and I would love to see Abdul play in Syracuse. But I think Fran Brown is going to do great things up there. But I'm about keeping our kids near, Rutgers University, Monmouth University, Rowan University. Syracuse is the next state. And, keeping our kids in the Northeast is very important to me, because you lose kids down south, and ultimately they may not get an opportunity down there. So you want to keep them close to home.
And like we said, you coached at IMG, which is, it's I think like one step below college, if not, it's hindering on that, borderline college experience. And like you say, you've coached in the SEC, ACC. What do you think? maybe not necessarily a hard lesson, but what's something that maybe not that you learned personally or that like you had to watch? What's kind of a lesson that you would give to these kids that are, they got these big Power 5 offers and they're headed off to college?
Yeah, what I did at IMG, I had 35 Power 5 5-star athletes. So you saw a lot of the kids that were individuals. They just worried about themselves. So I ripped the star system out of there, and I said, young men, you're going to be 5-star young men. We're only going to worry about character. And as soon as I really focus on academics, character, and faith, our kids play at such a high level where, they were talented, but now you add the high character and the faith in the mix of what we're doing, you got an elite athlete. So, Coach Saban called me when he recruited Tyler Booker and a couple other guys. And, he doesn't compliment many people. And he said, Coach, you did a great job with them. What I did at IMG was prepare our kids for championship locker rooms. I prepare them to be great leaders. And that's something that's missing nowadays. Even in my program, kids don't want to lead. And what I would give the advice to kids is just try it, put yourself out there because you never know what's going to stick. And, the commitment to a college prep program down at IMG, I think that's being lost. I think what we're doing at St. John Vianney is the college prep program. But I recruited a lot of schools where the high school coaches are not involved in the recruitment process. And that's the biggest thing for the future of the young men. You got to prepare them fundamentally. You have to develop young people to get them ready for the next level. And so what I would tell kids is really try to find a coach or a school that's going to develop you and get you ready for the next level.
Some big words. Now, having, you're not that far removed from the college scene, and the game has just, it's grown. Not just in numbers, but just in terms we have NIL now and transfer portal, things of that nature. When you hear, and I've heard this narrative before that almost they're going to stop recruiting high school players and they're just kind of going to pluck from the portal. When you hear things like that, do you think that's a fair statement? And, what's kind of your stance on just, the state of, like you said, transfer portal, NIL, and just, how do you think there's a happy medium in all this?
Yeah, it's terrible to see where college football went. That's one of the reasons why I got out of college football, because at Arkansas, our players are being plucked for a higher level, and you have to babysit your own roster. But it's disappointed. I'm very disappointed to see that high school athletics is being affected greatly by the portal NIL. But what we're doing at St. John Vianney, we're calling ourselves the portal beater. And we're preparing our kids to be a better leader, better player, better in academics than the kids that could graduate from the portal. And so with my relationships with college coaches, I think I know every college coach in the country, they know that they're going to have a young man ready to impact their locker room. And they're going to have a young man that has high character. It's disappointing because it makes my job harder to really place young people. But the FBS, the Alabamas, the Notre Dames, the Ohio States, yes, that's another level where they can definitely go to Central Michigan and get an All-American quarterback that could compete at the Ohio State, leaving our kids another opportunity maybe with the FBS, Division I, Division II, Division III. So I think there's still places for high school athletics. It may not be at the highest, but it may be at Elon, where you go there and you prepare yourself and get yourself ready for your future. But, this is something I work on every day, about 5 hours a day to place our kids in college.
That's amazing. And, you're off to a 2-0 start. I think it's been a while since, SJV has That they've had a statement season like that. What's kind of been your point of emphasis, and what do you stress to the guys most since in your first season with the Lancers?
Yeah, I did my roster today for the recruitment. We have 5 seniors, 25 juniors, 25 sophomores, and we're playing a bunch of freshmen. And I said, wow, we're young. And my thing is for us to go 1-0 every single day. We have to learn how to win every single day. You win weekly, you're going to start winning monthly. You win monthly, you're going to start winning yearly. And, I'm very intrigued to see where we are right now, because a couple of weeks ago, I'm like, ooh, wow, we have a lot of work to do. But where is our threshold? Where is our peak? And if we can surpass our peak, and what I say to our guys, fight the lactic acid syndrome. When it hurts, when it burns in the leg, can you go +3? And so I'm very interested to see how high and how fast we can play the next couple of weeks, because we're going against Group 5 schools, and we're possibly a Group 2 school in our roster. And so you can just maintain that competition level, that high competition level for so long before our kids start to break down. So we tweak our practices so our guys are fresh. We feel if you're fresh mentally, you're going to make less mistakes. If our guys feel good on Friday, you're going to have less mistakes, less drop balls. So by Wednesday and Thursday, Tuesday's hard. By Wednesday and Thursday, we're bringing back our kids mentally to feel good about the game plan, to feel good about their legs, so they can play fast on Friday. A lot, right?
It's a lot. It's a lot, but it's trust me, I admire the hustle and the organization that you have. That's why SJV got you there.
Well,
Coach Acosta, before we let you go,
mhm.
do you have any parting words, or what does the rest of the state need to know about SJV?
Well, it's not about us. I don't put the focus on St. John Vianney High School. I believe the state of New Jersey, we have an opportunity to come together and make our state one of the best football states in the country. And I've seen it in Texas. I've seen it in Florida. We're not far off. I've seen it in California. And you have the top programs in the states. We just have to put ourselves out there a little bit more and start creating the buzz across the country. And, we had an opportunity to play IMG with one of our teams. We have to start beating teams like that. We had teams go out of state. We have to start beating teams like that, so we can make our state one of the strongest powerhouse football programs in the country. And that's why I came back to really display what I've learned the last 20-something years. And I think we're going to make our state a very good football state moving forward in the future.
Well, we appreciate you coming back, and we appreciate you stopping by. And I have a feeling the Lancers are going to be getting some calls next year for some opponents. I think you guys are going to shock some people. So much luck to you, and this definitely won't be the last time we're having you on.
Awesome. Thank you for having me on. Have a good night.
You as well, Coach. Take care.
Okay.
Appreciate those guys coming through. The only thing left to do now is to get you ready for week 2. Yes, week 2 of the high school football season here in New Jersey. We have Thursday night football, but jumping ahead to Friday. Plainfield at Woodbridge. Big Central Conference special under the lights on Friday. You guys should definitely check that one out if you're in the area. Hopewell Valley at Notre Dame. Shout out to my guys in the CVC. Last year, that game was a movie. AJ Serace winning it in Tom Brady-like fashion on the last play of the game. Nottingham at Allentown, another Mercer County special. Shout out to my guys. We just had Jake Blum on. Can't miss that Mainland Millville going down. Shout out to both schools. Love the school spirit. Now, we got a lot of Tri-state area games. Got a lot of teams going out of state this week. Not that it's not exciting, but it just takes away from the vibes, you know. But Point Borough, Donovan Catholic, and 100 in Central Phillipsburg. State liners. Gotta check those guys out when you can. I know I'll be seeing them soon against Ridge. St. Thomas Aquinas, North Brunswick. Can the Raiders get in the win column, and can the Trojans keep it up? Lincoln at Weequahic. Weequahic suffering a huge loss. We'll see if they're going to get right. Was just talking about Ridge. They're going to host Hillsborough. That's a great matchup. That's pretty much going to do it for Friday night. And then looking ahead to Saturday, I know the game I'm looking at is Summit at Hillside. Bernards taking down the Comets. Can't remember if it was more than 2 years in a row. But that matchup, always good. And right now, well, the Bernards, it's their team name. The Mountaineers. Yeah, the Mountaineers. All right, yeah. Always a good matchup between those two. RBC taking on Long Branch. That won't be a far trip for the Casey's. Elizabeth, Westfield, Colonia at Linden, and all the big guys, Bergen, DePaul, St. Joe's, Montvale, Seton Hall Prep, all those guys, they're playing out-of-state teams. So safe travels to everybody hitting the road. But thank you for tuning in for another episode of The Garden Statement. Please like and subscribe, and let us know below what you thought of the show, and what we can improve on and what you want to see more. So you guys let us know where you're heading for week 2, and we'll see you back here next time. For NJ Athletics, I'm Nery Rodriguez.